All right, Squire, take it away.
You got it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the June 5th episode of MVP Office Hours. It is glorious to see you all today. Um, I know we just jump right into the good stuff. We're going to have a meeting in 2 weeks on the 19th, but we will be taking off on the week of July 4th. Hopefully, that gives everyone an opportunity to take whatever time they need off and not try to prioritize this. And we'll be back on track on the 17th. Um,
Mhm.
we usually meet on the first and third, like you probably likely know. Joy and I can be reached through LinkedIn if you've got us tagged. If you don't,
Mhm.
you should. You can use the email, but don't. It's probably best to use the success community for any questions, unless you need to get all of us specifically and don't like to use LinkedIn. As far as upcoming events, the summer's going to be busy, but unfortunately,
Mhm.
one of our favorites ended up canceling. Forcelandia ended up having to cancel their event. It's a shame. I know that's happening in other places too,
Mhm.
but that's a
Yeah.
popular one.
It
So.
was supposed to be their 10-year anniversary this year, so they'll get 10 next year maybe.
And of course, salesforce.com/events is the best place to see everything that's coming up both in the community and uh, uh, Salesforce events like Boston coming up in June. Connections is finished or finishing up, I forget, today.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Dreamforce is right around the corner. A lot of great stuff coming on July and August. I know I'm excited about Midwest Dream, and I may be able to go. It's still 50/50. So, and of course, Witness Success is near and dear to my heart as well.
Hmm.
Do we miss anything this summer from the group just to make sure we uh,
No.
get them all?
Linda, are you talking at Buckeye Dreamin'?
No, just witness
No.
success.
Just Witness? Okay, excellent. And then all sorts of stuff going on. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's gonna be a busy summer.
Yep. The QR on the left takes you right to success. That's the best place to start any conversation if you don't want to wait for a Friday, especially with the chaos of our schedule. And a couple quick round rules. You've heard this before, you'll hear it again. We invite everyone to share their experiences and their ideas. Post them in the chat, raise your hand. Let's hear your voice. But if it's a link to an article, feel free to drop it in there. And if you've got a question, raise your hand or post in the chat, and we'll get to you as soon as we can in the order they're received. You heard it when you logged in. We're recording. That means a couple things. Please don't share anything that's private or proprietary. We don't historically do an edit on this, so we don't want to put anybody in a position where they are we don't get anybody in
Mm-hmm.
trouble. We also ask that nobody's doing these transcriptions with AI. This is for us and our community. We don't want someone turning this into their own little content. And let's have fun, but let's be positive and professional and make sure next time we see you, you bring a friend or a peer.
Yay. Yay.
And with that, I didn't see anything other than a resurrected post from Bill that someone commented on. But there was a question in the most recent Think Like an Architect
Mm-hmm.
about Headless 360. We can talk about that a little bit if we want to, but I wanted to let
We
Ann
do
know.
have one question in the chat from Michael Klodner.
Cool. We'll jump over to that. I just wanted to let Ann know that I think Carl's going to try to join 2 weeks from today and can go into a lot of detail on Headless if you do have questions. Um, I thought that content from that call was really informative, but it did have a lot of people asking a lot of questions. So keep that in mind. If you can make it, we'll make that our primary topic of conversation and Q&A.
Yes, because this isn't pressing and affecting me in real life right now at this very moment, other than on Feels Headless talking about Headless, I can wait.
Okay. I mean, I think the biggest thing right now is just that the challenge I think most people are having right now is trying to make a comparison or, like a considerations assessment. It's a different tool with a different need. I think the comments that I tend to see are things like, well, why would you ever use Salesforce? Then why don't we just build it ourselves? Well, people are forgetting that you're not talking about doing everything headless. It's just that you can be headless if you want to. Um,
No, and
what?
that's not struggle. My struggle is, and this is maybe because I worked at Cisco. I was like, my end users who happen to be Cisco engineers built a whole bunch of stuff without going into Salesforce, but on Salesforce data, Salesforce logic, yada, yada, yada. So because of the API first platform aspect of Salesforce, so I was trying to understand and unlock in my head what's so different since we were able to achieve that before November
Yep.
2012 or 22 or whatever, et cetera, et cetera. So I can wait 2 weeks. So thank you again, though, for
Yep.
acknowledging me.
I mean, I'll give a quick response, which is, again, it's not about is this getting rid of API or why wouldn't I build with API? It's about agentically acting on Salesforce from other tools. So yes, you can use an API to do queries, and GraphQL can do a little bit more, but you've got these strict contracts. Now you've got the ability to say connect an agent to an MCP server, and now you have that flexibility of what an agent can do in the platform from a remote system, like whether it's Slack, whether it's a custom app, whether it's whatever. It doesn't replace the API. It is a different use case, and they're both going to exist for perpetuity for lots of real reasons. So anyway. Okay. Having said that, Carl can speak to it in much more detail in 2 weeks. So we'll put a pin in it. Hope you can all join, and if hopefully he can join. I know he's a busy guy. So why don't we go ahead and get to Michael, because he wrote a novel.
I'll summarize it. Client has a user, so they have various programs. One of the things they do is some case management for people. So the user who does the case management has been uploading files to Contact because those files might be relevant to more than one case that this person might work. Those files are potentially sensitive. Some of them are like scans of the client's social security card or things like that they need. That user is now retiring, which has caused the executive director to notice, like, oh, not only have they been uploading files, which is what he told them to do years ago, they're on Contact. His successor is eventually going to need to see those files, one assumes, so they need to be fairly discoverable. And they are not set to private. They're set to, the default, which is view based on record access or whatever. So anyone who can see the Contact can see those files. I don't think this is a problem in the sense that I don't think anyone's going to the Contact and trolling through their files. But now's the time to think about, like, gee, maybe we could do something. Should we do something different? Attaching the files to the case in question doesn't seem like a good idea, because then they'll be buried in the case. And if they have another case, which people do have, it's like they don't exist. Not to mention that even if we decided we thought these should all be set to private, bulk editing files, if it's possible at all, is challenging at best. Bulk editing the sharing of files.
Yeah.
So I thought I would turn to this group of smart people for some suggestions for ideas.
We've done some stuff, but I don't know if it's the best stuff. So
Yeah, and I don't know that the privacy alone is good, but I did attach the link on your chat to the object level for content version, and that particularly calling out that field, you can update it, like mass update it for records if you needed to.
Do you know off the top of your head how I can? Because in my experience, you can't even SQL query content documents and I call them the content whatever
link,
objects.
you can't, but this is content version.
Okay.
So you should be able to mass query those in theory.
Yep.
And then be able to update that field via data loader. The only issue is finding those records is not going to be easy, because the content document link you cannot mass query easily. In the past, I feel like I've done an anonymous Apex to kind of loop through and get what I need, and then had to strip that to create the query ultimately I needed to run. It's not a fun process.
Yeah, not fun. I'm fairly certain you have full access, because we've built tools to like multi-relate files as loaded to multiple objects. So I'm pretty sure you can both get it and update it and remove them. The relationship, to Linda's point, the docs themselves are their own problem. But you're describing something that we are kind of solving by a combination. So what we have is we have a screen flow prior to the most recent rollout, where you can now load files through Flow,
Right.
We had a manual step where if you loaded a file to an activity, it would then look at everybody that had a link to that activity at the time of load and create a relationship. So all the contacts, all the whats and the who's all could get quick access to it. So
Uh,
I think the relationship itself should be easy to vet. Linda, were you saying you could or couldn't change the security? Because I thought the security had to do with like a private library linkage of some sort.
So it depends. So content version itself has a sharing privacy field on it, though default is visible to anyone with record access. And you can actually set it to private on records, meaning that the record itself would have to be shared. And I feel like though with content, that's kind of tough. The other option there, though, with these, I guess, more controlled documents that you have there is maybe a custom object and you share it on a custom object attached to the contact. So
that's
you
what I was gonna, ask about is, making
so
like
they
go
yeah.
ahead.
So then you can control, the access to that custom object under it.
Yeah. But then to move the existing files to that sounds like a nightmare.
Um, I mean, it's going to be because you're going to have to delete an existing content document link, which you can only, yeah, your query options there are limited because it has to be by content document ID or by the related ID. You can't like do a weird mass. And then you have to recreate as well. So you have to create a new content document link to the existing document to get it on the new object.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I would assume that if you're only doing it for the documents that you need kept more private, that volume would be a little lower,
Yes, the trick is figuring out which ones those are.
which means you're already going in manually to look at them. So I kind of feel like you're going to need to create and delete those links manually anyway. But
Yeah.
hopefully
We
it's
did conversions and creations, Linda. So it might not be terrible. The really hard part is those I think what you're suggesting, the relation or the
figuring out which ones they are in the first place is your
Yeah.
biggest.
because it's only like three links. It's like the ID of the relationship link, and then the two, like the file link, the file ID, and the relationship ID. It's like they mean nothing. So you end up doing this gigantic. We found it was easier to do with a massive VLOOKUP or some database tool to do all the conversions, but then you could change the linkages on those IDs because they don't know they're uh like they're like a what ID, right? They don't care what the object reference is. So and then you
But
can
you have to do it by a delete and creation of a new content document link. You can't just update a content document link record.
I was under the impression we had been, but I wouldn't argue you probably are closer to it than I've been. I would also question the related list or the related object thing. That only works as long as it's only connected to the related object. As soon as it gets shared to a second object, it's wide open again.
Well, but someone would have to go through sharing it, and if someone's doing that, then I don't even understand what's going on.
If someone takes the time to reshare it, then you're good with it. All right.
I mean, there's probably a reason, or else that person is a total bad actor, and how can we plan for that anyway?
Yeah. The other trick is going to be, are you going to try to transfer everything to private or try to figure out which ones are private?
That is so. Let me throw in one other thing that the ED kind of suggested and see how you feel about it because it kind of relates to that. The other thing he kind of suggested was, well, I think the only person who's currently been uploading things to files on Contact has been this caseworker. What if we make a new profile that is for the caseworker? We give them their own page layout, which is the only Contact page layout that has the files related list on it. And then nobody else has a way to see those files because they don't have the files related list.
Unless they just query for it. If you
No
just.
one's going to, I'm not worried about people. If people are
Oh, no, I'm
querying
sorry,
for
not
it,
query,
they
like
have
search.
some sort of permissions that they can get around all of this.
I'm just meaning like if you search for something, the file name, it would bring it back in the search return and you could have access to it then. Even if you can't see that on the related list, you could still find the files.
You can search files that way?
Yeah, they search what is like the first 500 characters of the body and the names. You can search for file names.
Oh.
I don't remember what the number is as far as characters. It might be more than that, but
And then if they had record access, they'd be able to see the file even though they can't get they can't sort of see like whose file they're seeing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting twist. I might be okay with it in the end. Because I don't see, yeah. Okay. So you've given me a whole lot of bad options. Nobody's got a good option? There's no app out there or some such?
I bet there is. But wasn't there used to be an app that would do like the mass import export re-managed? Wasn't there some like Salesforce Labs app that did that for you?
I saw an app that was about mass export, but that's not
Yeah,
what
it's
I
not
need.
gonna help you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it would give you your IDs and your linkages probably to do work.
No, I think it was actually it mass exports the files was the one
Oh,
I saw.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't.
Which has its own other really interesting uses, but not for this.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think at this point I'm going to go back to the client and say, there's no good option out there. Here are our bad options, and we'll talk it through from there. Thank you, everyone.
I do think this is a fun one where it's like we can do it, but it won't solve your problem. Right? Like that feels like
Right.
more like the messages than anything. So
I missed your original question. Sorry.
Had to do
Probably
with
don't have an answer though.
Had to do with sharing of documents, like they've got documents shared on the contact instead of the case, but there's issues surrounding some of those documents that some should be shared, some shouldn't be
Oh,
shared, and
there it is.
yeah, it's really a long thing.
I think it's hilarious, by the way, that I could not post this to the Trailblazer community. It was preventing me because it said I had inappropriate language.
That's
I mean,
interesting.
well, you do see Social Security and you see sensitive,
Hmm.
Yeah.
which might not seem like it, but some of there's checks for
Could
that.
be.
Or
I think it's that I mentioned files, which we all know. is bad.
I don't know, do you have the words multi-select and pick list in there? 'Cause
I
feel like
don't.
that sometimes.
That should definitely prevent a post. Yeah.
I do think it's probably Social Security.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That's weird. So you couldn't be like, hey, what is the regular expression for Social Security card? Denied.
well,
Denied.
well, I mean, they're just trying to prevent people from putting stuff in.
Yeah.
How do you
But
mass
the
unencrypt
mods.
Social Security card numbers?
Yes.
Just kidding.
All the things, all the things. So, Sarah, after you read through the novel, let us know if you have any ideas.
I also
I
reposted in
assume-
chat as well.
Thank you. I assume you've already talked about maybe trying to do it through the XML and VS Code.
Do it meaning change all their privacy?
Yeah.
I have not. Linda pointed out that the content document, or no, the content version that's just a field, so it should be mass editable. I
Mhm.
don't know if that is actually what we want to do, because then going forward, then we have to teach the new person, you need to upload a file and then do these like 7 clicks to
Mhm.
make it private, which if we're trying for this privacy thing, I think we'd put it on a child object for the files, or
Because that would then lead me to just a custom upload flow that did all the stuff for them, and they just do it through a flow.
true.
But I haven't tried to update privacy or like that the sharing rules through VS Code for. I mean, we all know that content documents are special things. So
The content whatever objects.
yeah.
And the links and the relationships and the sharing and yeah, it's a nightmare.
But that's usually my go-to for like any mass editing that is not easily doable through the UI. Get to the XML and VS Code, and you can usually do something there. For you, like the admin, just like a one-time thing, right? Not
to backdate it all. It still begs the question of which files, because
yeah,
I mean, I'm not even certain we can just say it's all the files by this one person.
right.
And we could be in a lucky case where we think it's only one person, whereas obviously we could have had 10 caseworkers or 50 caseworkers. So, all right. I mean, unless we have another thing to talk about, I don't need to keep beating this horse, to use an awful metaphor.
Well, Michael,
Thank you.
speaking of awful metaphors, this is like a whole like conversation I had the other day about removing like those awful metaphors from my vocabulary. Like, and it's really hard because you don't realize they're there until they surface. And
So
I'm working at a whole like
yeah, I go back and forth
brain
about whether
dump.
I care or not, but in my most recent blog post, I used the phrase that sort of Salesforce was torpedoing their own product.
Hmm.
And I had originally written parens, war-based metaphor intentionally chosen.
Hmm.
And my wife was like, you don't need to say that, just take it out. It's a waste of a sentence.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a choice and it's hard. And I think it's like the there's a lot of metaphors that have a lot of like just innate violence.
Yeah. Trying to go the nonviolent communication is the
Yes,
whole thing.
trying to remove that from my whole vernacular because sometimes it's really disturbing when folks release some of that into a conversation. It's like, wow, I that was not what I expected to be confronted with today. Thanks. Um,
Michael, I have a quick question. I apologize. I dropped in late.
we love
But
it. We're glad you're here.
did you talk about record access? Like who has access to those contacts?
Yes, I didn't not in the discussion here, but yes, with that org, the problem is they have multiple programs, and one of those people may both, let's say, be a member of their ESL classes and get casework services, which is why we've realized it's a problem that these files could be on contact, which multiple people do need access to. And yet, you missed this at the beginning, if the caseworker was to upload those files only to the cases, they may have, or to a case, they often have more than one case, and therefore you wouldn't have access to the files you need when you do a new case. They'd be lost or buried.
Right. So, I mean, what I think I hear you saying, if I could state it a different way, is because just because an individual has access to the contact record doesn't mean you want them to have access to all the files on the record, right?
Correct. Although I think the nuance is we don't necessarily think it's a problem that they have access to the files. It's if there is a file that's sensitive, that one we're like, maybe they shouldn't be seeing it. Maybe the other people shouldn't be seeing it. But how do we necessarily know?
Because then what you're really saying is that that document needs to be private no matter what. It needs to be tied to one individual, right? I mean, that's essentially what you're saying.
But that individual is about to retire, so now it needs to be tied to that individual or their successor.
Right. I feel like you're going down a hard path here
Yeah, no, I agree.
in terms of keeping those straight. I mean, if you could just, you know, succumb to the idea that if they have access to the contact, they have access to all the files, your problem is all but solved.
I think that probably will be what the executive director decides. I think he's going to say ultimately, I trust my staff, and so they have access to Salesforce because I trust them. So they're not going to do something wrong with these files. Or yeah, I mean the Social Security number is a great example. Like it's also in a
Mhm.
field on the contact. Not everyone has access to that field, but let's face it, it's in a field. It is accessible to some people, including me.
Right. I had a thought and it just like floated away.
I know that feeling.
It's really bad, you guys. I need to get over this cold. Um, oh, so, and I'm sure that many of you have like run into this, is that when folks like build permissions and access around like an individual instead of around a role, they learn the hard way when that person moves on that, Mary Jo isn't going to be there forever. And so Mary Jo's access needs to be tied to a role or a group or something else that can be transferable in the future. And that sounds like a hard lesson here. Also, that this person that has access to everything like that, had it been designed differently, initially it would have been better. But the good news is like move forward with maybe a better design so that it's not as much of an issue in the future. How are you feeling about this, Michael?
You've all validated what I thought I knew, and I wish you had come up with some clever thing I had never heard, and I will go talk to the ED and yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, especially with attachments. I worked at a company where the attachments that came through for cases were same. Birth certificates, social security numbers, diplomas, degrees, scanned and sent in, and it's like, what do you do with all that? So,
Probably emailed in is my guess.
Well, I was gonna say that this is obviously not gonna help. Well, not obvious. It may help you, but it's not gonna help the historical stuff. So one of the things that we did at Nissan was not related to this at all, but it was around content and filing. There is an AWS service that actually can crawl and evaluate and do some of that content classification and can quarantine it, but that will help you from a point in time forward, not historical. So just, I don't know if that is an option as a point in time forward, and that should handle but you would have to run all your attachments and files through said service to do that. But that they do have a service that handles that activity. Yeah, and our service was weird. We weren't allowed to show blood, obvious, because car accidents happen, but then also not celebrity faces. I was like, how do I what determines a celebrity?
How famous is famous?
I was like, and your spokesperson is Captain Marvel. Is that a celebrity? Is she allowed to be in these pictures?
Michael, I'm curious, just for giggles, is from this point forward, is solving the visibility of this a concern, or is this all just based on Martha is leaving and Edna's starting?
I don't know the answer to that really. I think I need more discussion with the ED.
Yeah.
We know he noticed I didn't even know it was being used this way. He noticed it because of the person retiring, and then asked me is there a way to bulk update all of these to private? And I was like, all of which?
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing, is figuring out which ones would even need update.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason I ask is because if it were a situation where this may be like a line in the sand for the way document security should go, you might also be able to do something like, well, then anything prior to this is private. We're going to hide all those old cases. And then they become private because no one even knows the case exists.
Right.
But that doesn't help him because the documents were attached to contact, not to case.
Or sorry, contacts, right. Sorry. Never mind.
Some of those contacts are still active participants in cases or other programs.
Yeah, you don't want to make contacts private. I was hoping that was cases that were closed could go into an archive and then you'd be safe and sound. But no,
It
that won't
kind of
work.
makes the case for using them attached to case instead, though. Like he mentioned that sometimes the documents are needed for multiple cases. It makes it a little tougher. Unless, I mean, I'm kind of feeling like a separate object where for caseload work and documents tied to caseload work almost makes more sense.
And relating cases.
To be able
each
to relate
other.
cases to those and
Yeah. Interesting.
Here, one more follow-up question, sorry. How often are those files found and leveraged after the fact? I get why they might have been loaded at the time, but if they're not labeled in such a way that they're easy to find, then people are going to re-request stuff, and then maybe it doesn't matter, you just delete them all. Which is a terrible idea too, but you know what I mean.
I have no idea how to answer that question, nor whether it's even possible to answer that question, because it's not like there's logging on views of files.
No. But I'm like, I'm
But
thinking, like, does it say?
is it's not crazy, but you can go into a file and you can see the number of times it's been viewed.
Yeah, under the yes. Also consider whatever updates you do, don't forget about compliance and document chain of custody and any modifications and or especially if it's a financial services organization, 7 years of retainment of all communications, blah, blah, blah. So make sure you run through the gamut of all the compliance related things around document and customer interactions on that topic.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, generically speaking, that are the files labeled in such a way that if you were looking for something for Squire's contact case history, would you be able to find, oh, here's this, like, there's a file called Squire's credit card scan. Are they labeled that way, or are they just like file X?
No, they are labeled. I'm looking at one. I'm not going to share my screen. I'm looking at one contact that has several files on it, and they're labeled like person name, psychotropic medication change notification, person name, annual guardianship report,
Yeah.
person
Wow.
name, prescription. They're
Yikes.
very well labeled.
Well, so they are useful, just unfortunately easily discoverable. So, all right, you're doomed.
No.
Thanks.
Ouch. Ouch, Squire.
I can also see in that list that those ones I read you the names of, there's at least 2 more different users that uploaded files. Like this one has 7 files. 5 of them are uploaded by the person who's retiring. 2 others with names that sure sound similar to the others are uploaded by other users. So the idea that only the ones that were uploaded by the retiring guy would need to be private is out the window.
Yeah. Is there any chance that these are being loaded by an email integration tool, or are they manual?
I believe them to be manual.
Because that'd be another hurdle to cover. Even if you get secure, then they're just automatically getting linked. So, all right.
I feel like this is, I had a question today in our user group regarding emails where, there's content that should be considered PII in the email, despite the fact that you're blocking all the fields properly. And you can't really control what people put in emails, and you don't control the sharing on emails or the visibility of them in Salesforce.
I think the emailing is an interesting wrinkle. I've worked in a couple of organizations where the emails were also not protected, and they really should have been, because the information that was being shared via email should not have been widely shared across the organization, but it was available across the organization. And so identifying like how do we manage that, and how do we handle that as far as like cases and the CRM in its entirety. It's something to tackle. I don't have it in my head today. I don't.
Would it be okay if I jump back to my follow-up to Sarah?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
So I think that's the first time I've ever heard anyone suggest playing with XML to fix this. Like, not that it's a bad idea. I just would be curious. Like,
Yeah.
what's your thought process? What's the benefits? What's the risks? Things like that.
Yeah, I just realized when you posted that in chat, when I was thinking about it more, it's coming from, I've been more used to doing that for metadata. So that's just like now my go-to thought. But I think since we're talking about actual data, you're right that it doesn't maybe make as much sense as something else. But
Okay.
you probably could. I don't know. Can you get to data in VS Code? I'm not even sure you can do that.
Not really. I mean, in theory, you can script stuff at least to run against data, but
CCI has all sorts of data slinging tools, but
yeah, well, and you can run queries and pull data into like CSV files and then process them.
Yeah.
But not easily.
I think I was just like jumping in too fast and was jumping ahead to the like, oh, bulk update this, go here, make it easy, get to the, but it's more for metadata, right? So
That
not
said,
the
though,
case
one
here.
way to really understand all of those weird document object relationships, the metadata would tell you quite a bit there.
Yeah, true.
But so would the developer documentation. So whatever you like to use.
Mhm.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. No, thanks for that call out. That's
It's
a
amazing.
good point.
That's amazing. It's another week of everyone wanting to help and no one having questions except for Michael
Well,
today.
I have a question.
Oh,
I'm not sure you can
Sarah.
help with it, but I sent a case into support. We'll see what they say. But this is related to the retirement of SOAP login, API logins, and
Mhm.
doing my due diligence, and found the logins that are still happening in my org are related to a connected app that has a prefix that starts 888, which is
A
from
toll-free
what
number. No.
yeah, exactly. Like it's not any connected app that I know of. I've found a random Stack Exchange thread that said that this is some sort of remote site access app type thing, maybe, or a remote OAuth. And that if you wanted to know what it was, get in touch with contact, put in a case with support. So I've done that, but I am just sort of like, what's going on with this? It's all, yeah, broke the token.
I'm with Michael. I'm like,
Yeah,
if they are supposed to have access, they will raise a flag.
yeah. And
They'll
it's
be
all,
like,
it's,
they'll be like, hey, my thing's broken. And so maybe like if you're wanting to be thoughtful of this person who has
yeah.
unknown, unauthorized seeming access to your org, you can wait till the end of business today and be like, bloop, they'll let me know on Monday when they can't get in. I mean,
Well,
But you
it,
have in the connected app history, you have the user
well, that's the
that's
thing is I
connected.
went to check the user and I guess this is a little bit different, but login history, when I went to login history and looked up everything that's been using SOAP, it's all me. So it's some sort of app that I'm using and I don't
Sarah,
know what it is and I can't find it and I feel
well,
really
you will
terrible
find
about it.
out on
Then you
Monday.
can safely revoke it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
You can always
I
give
will
it
do
back
that.
when someone figures out what it is. Yeah.
I
The
have an org that it's the culprit is
Yeah.
Kazumi, so it's the like sync app to MailChimp.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like, I was like, has anybody heard of an 888 prefix? I have no idea what that is.
No, but I mean that's a rabbit hole and a half that I can go down.
I know. I spent a good half a day yesterday when I wasn't fighting with. So given all the other stuff, I was trying to get a passkey set up and 1Password and a YubiKey, and it was a whole mess. And I got locked out of my 1Password for a while. It was bad. It's all fine now. This all coincides with me also getting a new phone. It's been a day.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yesterday was a lost day.
I'm so sorry.
But
I'm
it's all
so
fine
sorry.
now. And passkeys are like super great. It's so much easier than the Salesforce Authenticator app. Just gonna say.
Agreed. Should we take this time to vent about the step-up authentication?
I was going to bring that up. Let's do that.
Well, before you do, Sarah, one of the things we found that it could be one of those is some of the maybe lesser used password tools SOAP call in. So when we hit our first, when we got that call out, we started deactivating our SOAP because we did
Yeah.
exactly what Michael said. Is we're going to deactivate anything we can't identify, and people had these weird password storage apps that were not approved and should have been removed years ago. And when they called to complain, we were quickly like, hey, you can go talk to compliance if you want to try to get that approved. So it could be one of those.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, great way to figure it out. So anyway, sorry.
This is kind of a silly follow-up question, but how do I revoke the token? I should know how to do that. I'm not sure.
So
I do.
in the OAuth usage list,
Okay.
if it's a connected app, you should be able to see it there. And then you literally, what I would do is, and this sounds stupid.
But I don't know what the app is. That's the problem. I only have the ID. There's no name.
There's no name. You're gonna have to wait for them to get back to you probably to
Okay.
find out which app it is, but it's probably one of the apps showing up under connected apps. But
That's
it
what I
might
thought.
not even be.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, that's the thing is I was trying to figure out what app it was so I could. But I was like,
yeah,
I
I
don't
mean, if
even
it shows
know.
up in connected app and you can find which app it is, then you can
Okay.
technically you could block it even. Forget
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
revoking it, blocking it, because a revoke on, especially since you're probably system admin, a revoke really isn't gonna do much because it's just gonna reconnect.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When I did the SOCL query to pull all the IDs of all my connected apps, it didn't show up in that list. So I don't know what it is, but hopefully support will figure it out and then I can deal with it appropriately.
My favorite is when they turn out to be something that Salesforce created.
Rude.
But
Rude.
yeah, step up. Haven't dealt with that one yet, but
All right, who did I
don't
cut
think I-
off a couple seconds ago?
It-
Oh, sorry.
Is that
Michael?
an event monitoring?
There
Some
should
sort?
be an event monitor.
There's an event
The
log that
888?
you can run for it, the total API usage, and
Yeah.
then you can find the ones that are SOAP related. There's a whole knowledge
that's how I
article
found
on it. I'm sorry, I don't have the link at the top of my head.
yeah, it was the API total usage report is where I found this app, but it has a connected app ID, but no connected app name. But I am definitely the user who's using it. So, and it says external application. That's all. And I guess it's saying it's trying to, what does it have here? The API resources list metadata. I don't know if that means anything, but hopefully support can help. Oh, and it's also doing some check retrieve status. I don't know what that is either.
I just posted a Stack Exchange interaction. Maybe you stumble on that yourself, but see if that helps you at all. Sometimes we all investigate the internet differently.
Yeah.
And just different.
Yeah, this is the one I found.
That
It
is
was
the
like-
one you found.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But
So that's part of your rabbit hole.
Exactly.
I'm hot on your trail, Sarah.
Yeah.
I'm hot on your trail.
yeah, remote access redirect page.
Interesting. Interesting.
Anyway, hopefully Salesforce support will get back to me.
Yeah. So the device key business. Oh, Linda has another. Linda, is that the same 888 for Sarah?
No,
Is
that
with
is
Pat?
the actual retirement notification, and that tells you how to get to the event log stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, API total usage event log file. It's pretty cool, actually. I had never explored that before.
Ooh. All right, Pat. Did you do your device key registration? Not yet. You just have the tutorial ready to do it.
I've switched all my client orgs to using Keychain, a pass key stored in Apple Keychain, aka Touch ID. Although I never use my fingerprint because I'm here attached to an external monitor, and keyboard.
So how does that work
Touch
though? If
ID
it's on a keychain, does it have to plug it into your device?
No, like Mac keychain.
Mac Keychain.
I don't
It's
know
like
what that
OnePass.
is.
Well,
It's a
what-
password
Oh,
manager.
So
And
what if
Apple's built-in.
what if you don't have Apple though? Like,
Exactly.
What
One password.
one password, LastPass? Doesn't Google
No,
have a
just
thing?
LastPass.
But
Isn't there-
I thought you can't use that because the code that is passing is
They-
not the correct code.
They walked that back.
You can use a
And
pass
it
key.
definitely does work. And they eventually agreed that, oh, yes, that will continue to work. I mean, they could screw up again because they seem to be screwing up left and right. By the way, if anyone hasn't read it, here's my blog post on the most recent series of screw ups. But yeah, no, but pass keys are now supposed to work, which they were not when they did an original.
So passkeys will work even. I guess I'm confused as to how passkey even works.
You join the
So-
join the club.
Yeah, I have no
but
idea how
like,
it works.
so-
It just seems
well,
stupid.
and
So it's
because
like magic.
None of the settings on that identification verification literally say passkey except for the one that says let's go passwordless. So what do I have to enable on that identity verification? Because built-in authenticator is
It
enabled.
thinks it's a security key. It thinks it's a physical key, but it's not. It's a pass key. It's
Okay,
weird.
but-
It's
but
weird.
If the passkey app is sitting on my phone and I'm logging in from my computer, how
If
do I
it's-
do that?
If it is in a shared, I'm going to call it vault, if it's in a
Mhm.
shared vault, which Apple Keychain is, it will work if you can access it from your computer.
Yeah.
It does work. I can confirm because I, on this computer, registered a passkey, and then I walked over to the one back there and I logged into that org using that passkey, which I didn't bring my phone with me or anything.
But you do have to log into the password manager on whatever thing you're using. So
Sure.
like I log into 1Password on the computer I'm using right now. I also have it on my phone, but like you have to be logged in. And I've set it up so
To
that
the
now
vault.
I need a physical key to log into that.
How do you log into it on your phone then?
You plug it in or hold your chip near it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Once you
It's
do
a-
all that, does the phone app work on Salesforce, or is that part of your article of Salesforce breaking
I don't
Salesforce?
know. I'm not sure if
Okay.
what do you mean by the phone app now?
Okay, so here's the thing. So we tried it, this whole like security and what you need to do, and we tried it in a side sandbox, and then tried to log into the Salesforce app, and you couldn't get in.
Yeah, I don't think you'd. I use 1Password, not Authenticator, not Salesforce Authenticator.
Yeah, but you couldn't access Salesforce from the mobile device.
You should still be able to log into the mobile device. However, the mobile app, the Salesforce mobile app.
Okay.
However, there is some weirdness of how to actually get to the passkey wherever your passkey lives, because the mobile app pops up an in-app browser for login, and that browser seems to make it challenging to get to your password vault, whatever that one might be.
But there's that setting on the My Domain where you can allow it to go outside the mobile app for the
Okay.
login.
Chrissy, are you having an issue where you can't get the pass key, or you just can't log in with mobile? Because we were getting blocked. It thinks it's got impossible travel IP jumps when we go from mobile to desktop.
This is 3 weeks ago when it first came out, and I honestly haven't done anything with it since, but I know it's coming up, and I'll have to tell my clients about it at some point. And I'm like, well, I need to understand it better first and what's going to happen and how they need to expect it. So
The thing we found was that anybody who had a mobile VPN enabled, it would block you and freeze the user because it would see impossible travel jumps. And so the recommendation is don't use a phone VPN, which can be a problem for lots of other reasons. But I just wasn't sure if that was the problem you were having, or you physically just
yeah,
couldn't get to
no,
the
it was my son and then the consultant on his project that was doing it on the side sandbox. But then there's like, well, I couldn't get in, so I'll get back with my friend Andrew and find out if he's done anything since. But I don't think it was a mobile VPN thing because that never came up.
Cool. That one's worse than the other one. I think the other one's more of a configuration, like Linda was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, it just feels like spirals within spirals, and everything's named confusingly, and who knows what's what, and how do passkeys work, and
And they're rolling it out too fast, so no one has a chance to test it.
That's so true.
Maybe it's just to boost their support numbers when everybody gets locked out of their orgs.
That's
Look, we
terrible.
give-
sir.
Our company gives the best support ever.
That's
Look how many
terrible.
You know, a
tickets we've
ton of this
answered.
is coming from the industry, right? All these security features are because of industry
true.
changes and the attack, the AI attacks, the changes in the protocols, and like they're just at world, but also they keep walking it back and changing terminology. So everybody's struggling in lots of ways.
Yeah, I
Don't
don't
get me wrong,
disagree with the premise at all.
Yeah,
Just the rollout.
yeah.
So I forget what champion program it was now, but it had something to do with security. And they gave me a lock, a thumbprint lock.
Cool.
Wait, it's Salesforce branded. And so it's really fun. It's like put your thumbprint on and it opens. I'm like, can we just do this with my org? That'd be great.
So
Like, can this just work?
Side note. So this has nothing to do with Salesforce specifically, but it's related, right, to all of what's going on, because my brother had a friend 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, who died. And everything opened from either his eye or his fingerprint. And then his wife was locked out of literally everything because it's not like she had access to his finger.
We put an extra face into my mother-in-law's phone so that if we need to unlock her phone, my wife's face will do it. But you can only put two faces on an iPhone.
And
That's
Salesforce only
interesting.
lets you have one security key.
Yeah, but like on my mom's iPhone, she can do it by the, the 6-digit thing. She doesn't have anything on her iPhone that,
There are some, I can't remember what. There's some, first of all, it's way like, it's my mother-in-law, so we often have to do some tech support. It's way easier to have a face that works than to have to constantly be doing the passcode. But I know her passcode, and there are some things that you need her face to unlock. It's something to do with things like turning off Find My iPhone,
Right. You
accessing
can
passwords. I don't remember what. There's some things that the passcode's not good enough for.
all enable all of that. And I think that that whole like second face came up a lot with COVID because we were wearing masks and I'm like, I need this to recognize me when I'm wearing a mask,
Oh,
or
right, because
for some folks when it's like a hat, for some folks when it's wearing glasses, you need it to recognize you. And I recommend that if you can.
That's a good idea, Michael. Next time I see my mom, I'll put my face on her phone. Because
That's
I do
right.
all the tech support between her and my brother.
Uh-huh.
My mom was so proud of herself. She's like, I updated my password. I was like, that's great. Let me see your phone. I'm like, oh, and she's like, how'd you do that? I'm like, seriously, mom? I did. It was my first try. I was like, we got to do better. We got to do better. She's like, I can't remember better. And I'm like, I know.
Joy, you sound like I did last week. I was really down and out for the count.
So remember last time we talked, I was really excited about talking at Connections. I didn't go. So I had Payusha and Byron spoke at Connections. I did not. And I did not go to Connections. So I didn't want to share my plague with everyone else. And for the record, I'm just coughing and I sound terrible. I'm not in a lot of pain, but I am very tired. It's not COVID. So just waiting for my 10 days before the doctor will do anything for me.
We can tell you're still sick because I haven't heard you like hysterically laugh once yet.
Fair, that's true. But your hair looks great.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a messy bun air dry day. So that's where we're at. Do we have oh wow, my biometric data? No, I don't need to share that with anyone, including myself. Do we have
I know what she's saying. Do we have actual questions or is this all commentary of comedic value from on in the chat?
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, I don't know. You all are. I'm so like I don't know. You all showed up to help. And Michael, I know you did bring a question, but like you literally like you show up week after week to help. And while we don't always get an opportunity to say thank you to all of you that show up to help, we appreciate you. And I want to make sure that you know that we love it that you're here. We love that you show up. We love that you show up without questions. We love that you show up with questions. But it makes showing up on days when I feel like I should not even be seeing humans makes it better. So thank you for being here and I appreciate you all. Do we have anything else, Squire? I know that the one thing I do want
Hey, I was actually live at that YubiKey when he created that YubiKey, the device. So that was a good session. I just wanted to say
that's
that
fantastic. At
that
Connections?
No. This was last week or week before last. Bill Kuhner did it on his Friday call. There's a military office group, and so he did it live on his call.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do they record their calls? Do you know? I don't know if they do.
Yeah, but it takes him a little while to post them. But there is a Slack group too.
All right, that's really great. That's a really great resource. And then I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, have you all explored the Trailhead Journeys yet?
No.
No. Okay, yeah. Check out Trailhead if you get a chance. Trailhead Journeys is a new.
Any of them yet?
No, you can't complete any of them yet. It's different than a trail mix somehow, and I'm trying to figure out how. It's not a quest. It is a journey.
A journey that is a mix of, that is a combination of multiple trails.
Mhm.
that you have to complete it. And
The
all of
shortest duration is a Slack journey right now, though. So everything else is like greater than 6 hours, I think.
Yeah,
the
but
Slack
that
one, I think,
Slack
is
journey,
3.5.
the third one isn't published yet, the third component.
well, yeah, and all of them, the last trail is not yet published.
Well, you gotta jump on it
Under
now and you'll be ready to
construction.
go.
Come on, Linda,
Right.
you got them all done already?
I've got them done as far as I can get them done right now.
Dang.
I love it.
Did they just announce a super badge, Linda? I figure you would be the go-to person to inquire about that one.
They did? I didn't see that.
Wasn't there one about Agentforce dashboards and reports or something, or is that an old one?
That's an old one.
Oh.
Unless they redid it, because
Like,
they
how
are
old is
redoing a
old?
number of
6
them.
months?
No, old is like 6 hours. Come on.
Yep.
No,
Fair.
no, not that. But
Yeah.
there are a lot of. I'll have to look, because I feel like they are redoing some of the badges, is what I've heard.
There a lot of the badges are getting refreshed, and as you know, because they're inserting agents into just about everything. But it's exciting stuff. Oh man, I really hate this, like the TBID rotation of things.
I always end up clicking the wrong thing and signing into my org instead of Trailblazer community.
That happens to me too. You're not
All the
alone.
time.
It's okay. It's okay. You're definitely not alone.
I'm waiting for them to tell me I have to connect my org to my Trailblazer ID.
Well,
for my cert stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so right now there's only 5 journeys, and there's revenue management, Agentforce sales, Data 360, Slack, and Tableau. And they'll take you on a ride for days and days and days. Agentforce revenue management is a 27-hour journey. Yeah.
Which
cross
means
country.
54.
Well, if you don't have it, half of it done, yes.
But is
And
this like recipe times where like
I
or
don't know.
GPS times where
I think
your
it's
time
like
may vary?
I think it's actual like time to like read the thing. It's estimates. But see, now that's really interesting because I opened up the Slack journey and the first trail is 3 hours, 32 minutes, and the second trail is 5 hours, 49 minutes. So I'm feeling like the calculation is not accurate. But maybe it's telling me I have 3 hours left because maybe I have some of the badges done throughout that. But I encourage all of you to take a peek and poke around and see what interests you, if there's anything.
Just a different way to organize stuff, though. It's not.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of folks that come into Trailhead and they don't know where to start, and this might
Yeah.
help with some of
There's so
that.
much now.
There is so much, and I think there's a lot of trail mixes that individuals have made that are maybe not as they're not kept up to date. And so, yeah, friends, sorry, it's 2:00. You can y'all do your life. You know, I know that you have other things going on at the top of the hour, so try out the Trailhead journeys. Report back. Bye, Pat. We'll see you later. Bye, Michael. You leaving? Bye, Bill. Everyone leaving? All right. Stacy, it was good to see
we
you.
appreciate it.
All right. I need to go. It's time for medicine.
Yeah, go lie
think.
down.
Well, you know, Taco's been lying very close. He's like,
Yeah.
he's right there.
Yeah.
Staying
Good
close
dog
today.
healing energy.
I love it. I love it. All right, friends. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks, right? What is it?
2 weeks.
June.
Yeah.
June 19th. Yep, June 19th, everyone. We'll see you later.
Bye all.
All right, bye.